All right, so we're back, Creative Collection NYC, here with Chief Jungle, continuing off where we left off. So you could finish that last statement about the avatar because it's happening right now in real life, in meta form, and in social platforms. We're experiencing that right now.
Right, for sure. Definitely.
And then you can show your documents and things.
Perfect. Am I able to record again to try to grab that what I was speaking on as far as the avatar thing, but just a full circle around before we get into the documents. Having your avatar is being so you have the ability to use your public avatar to your public advantage. Your public avatar deals with your credit card. Actually, it's not yours. So if you look on the back of your social security card, it says it does not belong to you. So if it doesn't belong to you, then it's not yours. So like it isn't yours. You're literally just controlling it. Now, I say that to say it's a credit card, like a social security credit card, and you use it to make transactions. So like everything is transactions, no matter what. Everything has numbers. You can't have a world without black women, and we can't have a world without numbers. So like now, when um when I show you these documents, I'm gonna show you like how I started from the very beginning and work my way all the way down. So essentially, when I do my public and my private, everything that I write in my Bible is handwritten, and then everything that I put in the public is a photostatic copy. So when I tell people about like paperwork, or I tell people about like how to do certain things, I always recommend that people write it in their Bible first. That's always the original foundation, and then you take that and you make it look pretty for people to see it on in the public eye. Um, and now, once again, you have a public and the private, like I said before, just to re-echo it. Your public deals with Bible verses, your private deals with nature, the universe, all of those things, if that's something that you're into as well. And that's in your private domain. So when you're in your home, when you are in your ministry as well. So you can have a God-based ministry and you can have a nature-based ministry. Once again, you play in so this is your lifestyle. You get to switch between different characters whenever you see fit. So you can be a beneficiary one day, you can be a surety the next day, you can be, you know what I'm saying? It's so many people that you can be, but knowing that they're all like still the same person is very strange, but it's very interesting. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so before I share my screen, I would love for everyone to say some affirmations to themselves internally, whether that's I love myself, whether that's I'm great. What are some things that you love about yourself? I'm a fan of Mirror Talk. There's no mirror, but Mirror Talk will say that I like to look in the mirror and actually look at myself and speak to myself and affirm myself, have real conversations with myself, all type of things. So from a therapeutic standpoint and psychology standpoint, I always want to gift that to people if people never thought about that, because I feel like it's super important to reaffirm yourself so you're not looking outside for it.
Right. My aunt says, I am amazing. Every day, wake up, look in the mirror, and say, I am amazing.
Beautiful,
My
beautiful.
favorite is I don't age. I like to look in the mirror and say that.
I love that, black dog crack, All right, so let me host disable. Oh, so I can't share my screen. It's disabled currently.
How do you
I
let
don't know what this do
me
to me.
share the screen? Make the host. Let me make you the host.
Yeah, that should probably do it. All right, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so you're able to see my screen, huh? The whole.
Yep.
All right, beautiful. All right, so this is my seal, but we'll like show that in a better light. Let me go here. All right, so when I talk about allegiance, this is what I mean. We have the creating your own seal is important, meaning that whatever your family seal is, this is mine. My spirit animal is the owl, is also the panther. So owl and alchemy. So that created that. I encourage everybody to have their own. Once again, this is what you're going to pledge your allegiance to. This is going to be your bread and butter. This is you're going to die behind this. This is your let. You know what I'm saying? This is y'all. Now, after that, it's always important to have different versions of it, and different versions of the same thing. Get creative with it once again. I like to think of it as play. So when we are children or when we were little offsprings, we had endless amounts of play and endless amounts of imagination. So like I also tell people, if you're dealing with creativity blocks, it could be because play was stripped away from you when you was in your upbringing. And there's sometimes to get that back is to acknowledge it, but also to find ways to bring play back into your life, which builds back your imagination, and imagination deals with creativity. So like when people want to create their own world, you need to be creative. So sometimes when you have those blocks, you may need to regress for a second, take some breaths, and like really find a way to not take life so seriously. Because the moment, even though life is serious to a degree, it's as serious as you make it. And also psychology, they make it that way with the propaganda and the media and all of these influencers. So like taking a step back and trying to find a way to conceptualize reality more in a playful slash firm manner, it allows for you to build your creativity back again. So when you have wax seals, like I said, I'm a fan of the wax seals, and these are what they look like. These are my sigils. So this is my sigil. Then you have my partner sigil. This is my daughter's sigil. And once again, we put these on these are for presentation purposes, because remember, in the family Bible, it's the real one. But on the public side is this one, you know what I'm saying? So it's important that people get that if that's something that they want. Prints, I don't even know what that is, honestly. Oh, okay. So like I have my daughter's footprint because print. So I'm gonna take it back, essentially. Let's see, let me go back here. Now the icon, once again, this is just extra stuff. Just having a little icon, see how all this plays into the whole document in itself. I have my own font. I thought that was dope. So I mean, shoot, if you want to create your own font, go on Fiverr. Try to find somebody that creates your own font.
Yes, I love Fiverr.
Yeah, so they've been helping me out. Now, as far as the actually, I'll show you the actual real one. So I was gonna show you the example, but why not show you?
Well, quick question. Is this operation just for children, or like, is it a certain age, or like, can you just do this as an adult, like decide to look, I'm gonna
Yeah, so so Starseed protection is strictly for starseeds, and then I funnel people from there to off the plantation. So off the plantation is the one for the guardians, and then Starseed protection is for the starseeds. So I would recommend anyone like 5 and under could do the family Bible and all of that stuff and be good to go. Now, if you're over 5, you can still do the process. The reason why, matter of fact, the reason why I say that is, let me show you why before I show you this.
Does it seem like it's more costly the older you are? You're like paying your way out of the plantation, but as soon as you're born, it's easy because now you don't got to
Yeah,
go
for
through
sure.
all of
So,
that.
but also what I like to say is that's definitely true. Now, the moment that you learn vocabulary, it actually doesn't matter how long you've been in it, because now you know how to control what you say in the system. So,
Correct.
like a lot of the paperwork is important, but once again, if there was no paperwork and you had to speak your way out of a situation, that is your sovereignty. That's how you're able to get out of situations, because you may not be able to present some papers every single time you go somewhere. And then, yeah, so when I look at the where was it? We can do this one. No, that one's a little too much of a read. Let me look at this one. All right, so this is the Social Security Administration that talks about preferred evidence. So preferred evidence, we'll skip all the way here that says recorded before the age of 5. Now, the reason why I say that, they said you want a religious record which shows your date of birth and was recorded before age 5. Preferred, though. Preferred doesn't mean it doesn't have to be. I just take this for what it says, and I'm like, okay, so if you're under 5, I'm sure you can do this, no problem. If you're over 5, they just prefer that you didn't do it. That's not saying you can't do it. Now, other evidence of age, because you're trying to prove something to someone. Family Bible, family record. We're not gonna worry about none of these other things. All right, so the other thing I want to show y'all is the Department of State, because the Department of State deals with your passports. So what you're trying to do is get early public records. So if you don't have primary evidence, let me see if I can, oh, God dang. If you don't have primary evidence, which is your traditional birth certificate, you can submit early public records, okay? I can show you what all of these look like too. These are just extra things. They actually just put this on here not too long ago. But they're saying that you can use a baptism certificate, and you can also use a family Bible record. And I'm not going to deal with all these other things. So they're letting you know how you can obtain citizenship, or how you can prove citizenship without having the primary evidence that what everybody else would deem as your citizenship. So the same way how I like to tell people is the same way that you tell these people how you can prove your daughter or your son's citizenship is the same way you tell everybody else on this land. So if this is what they need to validate my daughter to get from one country to the other, then there's no reason why a public school or a bank or wherever I go I can't prove the same thing to them. Not even saying that's how I would operate, but typically you move under a trust or LLC, and then you'll put your offspring in that, and then that's their number that they use. And you just build up the credit on the LLC, and you hand it over to them when they become the age of majority. So
When it comes to a trust, do you have to have a certain amount of money to create a trust? Because they say that you need a certain amount of money to create a trust.
Nope, you sure don't. You can. So once again, when you have trust that can be formulated without an EIN. Like once again, this was a trust relationship. If this was on paper, this would have been a contractual trust relationship, and then when it was over, the trust would extinguish. Now there's certain things called trusts that don't need papers. So like once again, this is one, and then you have one that does need paper, aka if you go into a bank. So typically, if you formulate the trust right, the bank shouldn't ask too many questions, because that's actually not part of their authority. And once again, knowing how to articulate your words, one would say that, hey, I'm designated the trustee to open up this bank account. This is all the information that was provided. If there's any other information that's needed, I'm going to need a written request so we can bring it to the board of trustees. Take a few weeks to get everybody together, and then we can, answer any of those questions. So again, you're not going in as you're going in as a trustee. So you're not going to need my social to do that, because some people like to do things, a little not under the table, but privately. So privately would mean you're not using your social. Publicly would mean you're using your social. So everybody want to take your social, but you don't have to give your social if you know how to articulate proper words. So yeah, but to answer your question, you don't need anything to open up a trust. You just need on paper to say that you have an asset. So that asset can be your daughter, your son. That's an asset. You know what I'm saying? You can create a security interest surrounding your offspring, aka you can have insurance or life insurance that creates an asset, and that could be a bond, and that's money, like not real money, but penny money, and also actually a bond. So it's like a lot of like wiggle rooms around that. But to re-echo and answer your question, even if you didn't have any of that, they would just open it, or they should be able to just open it. Yeah, so let me get into this right quick. So this is once again a photostatic copy here. Everything that I say on here, I truly mean, meaning that I believe that not only am I a demigod, but I believe my daughter is a demigod. So I'm going to speak on what I believe to be true, and then the universe will just do what it does. Now, some of these come from biblical vocabulary words, so I never say I'm a citizen of the United States. I'm always a citizen of heaven when I'm moving in that godly capacity. I'm a civilian on earth. So the reason why I say civilian is because if we were all in the army and we went to another country, you would say, don't shoot the civilians. Why? Because they're not in the military. So I equate the world as a military world. This is why we're always fighting one another, like the government or each other, and to a degree too as well. So those word plays are important. Flesh and blood. Remember, we're talking about the spirit. So yeah, even from the top, just from the straight top, we just nip it in the bud. Now you can create your own birth certificate. So once again, I created this for my daughter. Yeah, so essentially it's the same thing they would have did, you just did it for yourself. The word plays are important. So remember, this is trustees. This is a trust relationship. All trust, they have its own agreement inside of it, which nobody outside of it knows about the agreement inside of it other than the people who created it. That's what makes trust so powerful, because if a police officer runs your plates and see that there's a trust, he doesn't know what's going on, like, because he's not in that space. So he's going to choose not to be in that space to a degree. Um, so yeah, that word play is important. Once again, you can see the seals. These seals, once again, are the photostatic seals, but the real seals are actually in the Bible. So once again, you have the living estate. This is her birth record. I put it in the newspaper, as you can see here, but this is the actual version of it. It's super long because it's my daughter, so I had to turn up. Let me see if I can go back. Yeah. So yeah, I would go over all of this. There's a lot of wordplay in here. I think that's super important as far as things that you should be saying in terms of how to handle yourself. As a matter of fact, I don't mind going over this because I feel like it's valuable. Now, when you deal with equity, a certain wordplay, once again, clean hands, alert, and sober mind. Once again, this is considered a script. So in my book of myself, my goal is to keep reading this so I can regurgitate it, because it has everything that I need to rebut anyone, and it has everything that I need to stand on everything that I'm trying to say. That's why it's so long. Um, so once again, once you understand, like, you're always going to come with clean hands. You're always going to come alert. You're always going to come with sober mind. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to say that you received a gift from God. You're a sacred guardian. You're a trustee. You have a living estate. So dang, ooh, we could get so spicy in it. All right, hold on. Hold on. I ain't gonna do it yet. I ain't gonna do it yet. But it's
Thank
like,
you. Thank you. That looks beautiful though. That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's so much
You
though.
did
It's so
great.
much to go into. But we spell it all out. Let the world know that there was a religious record in the baptism, and it's been handwritten, it's been sealed, it's been transferred, it's been in a family Bible, it's established. So you're literally telling them what's going on. And if nobody rebuts it, then you just stand on it like it's true, which it is. So you're creating a custodial trust. A lot of these verbiages, I can show you where I get them from. That would just put me in so many different tunnels. So I just kind of want to go through this just to give you the vocab words. So if you know field trips, you need like a custodian slip, because they're trying to watch over it. So this is a custodial trust because you are watching over your offspring. So you're holding the title to the estate. The estate is your offspring. When she came through the portal, she was a spirit. You just gave her a state to live in, a body, to do businesses anyway. Now you're saying you're going to aid in providing secondary evidence, which was the birth record, which is one of these, the baptism. So you're letting them know, hey, so in a real world situation, they may ask, well, where is your birth certificate? No, we don't have that. We have our secondary evidence of citizenship. I have her baptism, I have her family birth record, and I have the, birth affidavit with the birth announcement. So this is all you need. So it's just more so, how do you articulate these words? So she's ministerially affiliated. She's claimed as the most valuable asset in all the world. Once again, that's just how I feel. Natural minerals, because remember, we're on the subsurface, we're not on the surface. So like real estate, and like the world, like the United States created a a fake land so they can put real estate on it, but we're actually on the actual. So when I said in the beginning that we gave them permission to set up shop, so before they set up shop, we were on the soil, we were on the subsurface, the minerals. So what they did was, because God controls the land, they had to create a fake land, which with parcel IDs and all of that stuff, so they can tax you and do everything that they want. But what we're saying is, no, I'm not actually on this. I'm actually on the subsurface. I'm on the land. So that's where I got that from. And then that's also the mineral. So my daughter is, uh, yeah. So worth more than gold. This is all of her measurements and stuff like that. As trustees, what is your role? Because there needs to be a role. Why did you get entrusted by the creator to get this gift? And we felt like our role was to guard the treasure which was entrusted to us. All confidential prenatal medical files, personal information, receipts, all of that stuff is stored within the Bible and kept in the private domain. Meaning you have to come in the private domain to get it. I'm not going to come to the public and give you nothing that's private. Now, I'm letting you know any violence, these are all just like opposers by vocabulary words. A volunteer is an opposer, a disunionist, a sinner, a person. All of these people, if any of y'all try to breach the trust or exercise eminent domain, once again, that's a good word, and or cause suffering without remedy. You know what I'm saying? So what is the intent and purpose? You want to always have an intent and purpose with your trust, and that's to protect the enjoyment and pursuit of happiness of my daughter as she engages as the living soul and trusted on her diplomatic mission. I just get real funky with it. Like I said, this is just what I believe. So this is when she's going to be 18. And then until then, all matters regarding trustee's property. So this is like, once again, wordplay. This your daughter? Yeah, this is my property. I'm the trustee. It's just that talk. It's a different type of talk. So until then, all matters come with me. When I say that you may want to exercise certain roles. So, I'm Cherokee. So if I wanted to, exercise that Indian native role, I may, when I sign documents, they have, what's your race? They say black, white, Hispanic. I don't say any of that. I say B21 because they have a race code list. They have a list of all the, I wonder if I put that on here. They have a list of all of the, here we go. No worries. They have a list of every like Indian tribe, all type of different things. So hundreds of it. I mean, as you can see, it's just hundreds of it. So some people may say they was like Blackfeet, Blackfoot, A45. So instead of saying that you are white, black, whatever, you could literally say you're these. And that's what I do. So, but once again, you pick and choose, when you want to play in those capacities. So I want them to know, though, that, oh, no, this is mine. I'm tripping. All right. Yeah, so you got all of these. I know I'm mixed with white. I know there's some unknown in there. These are two Indian tribes. I know I got DNA traces in the African continent. So any act to impair a private contract, which is the contract that I created with the ministry and with my family, convert, appropriate private property into a false nationality, political status, pretty much paper genocide. It's dishonorable and it's fraud without written permission by both trustees, and a wax seal from the God-based ministry surrendering said property from trust. So so that was pretty much the sauce there. My daughter's feet is there. Our fingerprints are here to validate it. This was her baptism. So when I do baptisms, because I was the one who delivered her, my baptism was strategically placed from the moment that she came out of her portal to the finishing of her AppGuard test, which is the first test that you take to essentially make sure that your offspring has the oxygen levels that it needs. So it's like, is the baby actively flexing? Is the extremities yellow, or the extremities pink, or is it blue? Things like that. Is it crying? So because first of all, I know that somebody may try to critique my wordplay. So I want people to know from the rip that my daughter scored a high score on her AppGuard test, which was the first test that people usually take. So I drafted that and articulated it in this actual baptism. So, you see that this is actually personal based off of everybody's experience. So nobody's going to have the same baptism. And also, if you had your offspring before this, you can always just you can just baptize them. And it's kind of like we get brought in the system and then we go to church. Our parents take us to church and then we get baptized. And you get baptized into a church. So you can re-baptize into another church, which is your ministry. So that's essentially what this baptism is. And her coming through the portal to my hands is her accepting the role of being in the ministry. So we created a certificate based off of that. This is for vaccinations. So we were living in a time where, they was dealing with the religious exemptions, but this is a mandatory exception because you're under God. An exemption is like you're trying to ask for, it's not like you're trying to ask, but a mandatory exception is like, no, this is mandatory. I'm not asking, I'm actually telling you. So lawful consideration, this is, I don't know if you can see it too deep, but this is a silver certificate. These are certificates that are backed by real silver, not your Federal Reserve notes. It'll say paid to the bearer on the bottom. You can't really see it, but nonetheless, the reason why I do lawful consideration is so I can have something of equitable uh, claim. So equity means that you're standing on something that is being backed by true, real value. So what you're saying is, hey, thank you. You're thanking yourself. It's like tithe and offering. You're thanking yourself based off of the fact that, hey, you created this for your offspring here. Thank you. Keep this for the birth records or for safekeeping. This now gives this document value that can't be taken away from a colorable contract. Now, this one, every place where you set your foot would be yours. Funny, that's why they took your footprint. But anyway, we did a proclamation of the contact with Mother Earth. So not only did we get her when she came out of the womb, her physical mother, but her cosmic mother, which is Mother Earth. When I said the subsurface, we contracted her with the Earth too as well. That's just extra, you know. We just do a bunch of extra stuff. Now, this is the birth affidavit that's needed for your passport. Yeah, I'll just skim through that. This is the no letter or record that you would need to, in addition to your passport. So you would go in there, you pretty much ask, hey, is my daughter in here? They're going to look for it. They're going to be like, no, we can't find her. You'd be like, perfect, because I don't want her ass in there anyway. So can I get a certified copy of that, please? And then boom, that's that letter. Now, I didn't scan the passport form, but that's that. This is her trust. Skim through that. Life insurance. We have her birth chart, star map, notary. Yeah. So that's essentially that.
That is amazing. That
Yeah.
is so amazing. So I noticed that you have your seals on the bottom on each document, and then is there a notary from an outside notary, or you notarize yourself?
Yeah. Nah, so I have so in our tribe we have notaries inside. So we all bought each other's notaries so we can notarize our own documents.
Oh, that's good. Very
Yeah.
good.
So I definitely recommend that. If y'all live around each other, just go ahead and get each other notarized, and then y'all could just swap each other's seals, and then boom, y'all bop. You know, it's easy as one, two.
Right.
Yeah. Um, But yeah, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's Operation Starseed Protection. Once again, the goal behind that is just to give people a different way of just, looking at life, but also, how can we capitalize off of one, the government, but also how do we safe haven ourselves if ever we get put in situations where, a public official is involved. Because a lot of the times public officials don't really be at you like that unless you're really doing something. But for the most part, it's important to know what to say and how to get out of certain situations, but also to know like how people utilize leverage and banks and credit, because there's so many other things that people do, and the outside world looking in thinks that people are like really super rich, but they're really like finessing, leveraging credit and business loans and equity, and there's so many other like games that, or like strategies that they use to compensate for their actual, they don't have a lot of money. So yeah, and I guess the last thing is, this is like a side bill, but as far as off Operation Starseed Protection, I don't mind who comes into the space. But I'm not pro black, but I like to, when I really dive deep into it, one of the bigger reasons why I'm doing this is to educate melanated people on the idea that our offsprings are being manipulated and infiltrated, and we don't have a media outlet which that can ensure them of their righteousness in this world. So, even from the movies or even from the television shows, there's no like melanated savior. There's no black Superman. There's no like so no disrespect. It's just this is what I'm observing. You do not see pretty much, you have a non-melanated person that can go out in life and see why they're the greatest, or why that they feel like they're the greatest, because they're depicted as great in cartoons, they're depicted as great in movies and things like that. So I'm very passionate in educating young Black people on like the true greatness of our ancestors. Like we have people who went to war against Rome that we don't really know about. We have somebody called Hannibal Barker, and this savage here had 100 up to 100,000 people and beat a 1 million man army in Rome. So why not start our offsprings about learning about these type of things, not start them about slavery, because that already puts them in a, oh, we're a lesser, but really we was actually battling them toe to toe, beating them. There's so many other wars that isn't being presented. And like I said, you know, without due respect, but us as melanated people and our offsprings, we don't have that to look forward to because that's not being taught to us. So this ties into homeschooling because you have something called a private membership association. So how people are able to homeschool their offsprings without there being any like infringements on the government. They have to do it from a religious standpoint. So if you have an offspring in a public school, you can always pull out any offspring from a religious standpoint.
Mhm.
And then you don't have to abide by some of the rules and regulations that you would have to do any other type of way.
Okay, I
Um,
just did. I just put out mines last week again. Yeah.
Word. So yeah, you have something called a PEA, which is a private education association. So like the same thing, your same rules and regulations, whether that's you want to link up with the teacher and then let them know your values, and then they create a curriculum based off around it, and then that can be infiltrated or that can be implemented into your trust, your association. Then that's typically what I encourage people to do.
Yeah, I just did
Yeah.
that. I met with my superintendent and I don't I can reclaim back the whole so we can see the screen again.
Oh, yep.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I don't um like to segregate. I just encourage unification because we still have to camaraderie with these powers, and
Hmm.
everybody is not evil. So it's like they just working, doing their job. They still are
Right.
portraying a
Yeah.
character. So we're not the judge. So I still would encourage people to work with your superintendent, work with, your local district, because you can be the change. You can be that change
Right.
to reclaim. All we gotta do is have a seat. We gotta reclaim back our seats in our land. That's all. You can't just
Right.
expect that by sitting still. You gotta actually go in those places and meet them where they are and let them know who you
Right.
are and what you want done.
Right.
You can't ask. No, not you can't ask. You have to ask. But what I'm saying is that you gotta ask God. You don't ask man. You ask God, and God just directs you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, timing. I feel like it's definitely a timing thing. The frequency, the vibration got to raise more still. The vibration got to come up more in
Right.
order for people to be able to work with these professionals, stuff like that. They still not fully in tune to really, respect.
Right.
So can you just let the people know where they can find you and your services and things like that? And shout
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
to your team, your squad. Y'all doing your thing for real. We appreciate you
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. I love, appreciate you. So, when you see my screen, you see 4 pillars. You'll have access to all 4 of that, and you'll be able to put your offsprings in a position where you'll feel comfortable. Comfortable meaning like this role play that I like to always do with people. We'll have more of that. We'll be able to actually articulate our words together, so you can feel more confident and comfortable. And then, so that's 350. That's the discount price. I am teaching it at in LA in March. If anybody's in LA, y'all can pull up to that. But I'll be doing yeah, I'll be teaching that in March. Now, my other services are like how I like to do things now is more private. I'm trying to figure out a way to do things more private versus public. However, I overstand the public capacity. So I've been hacked before, quite a bit actually. So I don't have a website right now, and I find it to be divine timing because I don't need one at the moment. But if people want to reach out to me personally, my Instagram is Chief Jungle, ChiefJungle. And on that page, that's my workout. That's just pretty much everything that I do. If anybody have suffering any low back injuries, I can get you pain-free living in less than 12 weeks. Like I said, my testimonies are everything that I would monetize. So like my injuries, anybody who have an injury or anybody who don't have an injury, I have the perfect program for you, regardless of what you like to do in life. Like my programs are vitamins. I just ask that you take it every day or as you see fit, and then you go and do everything that you love to do. So that's considered jungle reset, where we reset your mind, we rebuild and we restore your mind. Yeah, so Starseed Protection is my Starseed Protection portion. You can get to that by following Chief Jungle as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do consults if people want to speak. Also tell people if they are really good at retaining information, then it's cheaper to book me for a consult than it is to pay for like an academy or a curriculum. So like everything that you would get, I will show you through the call. It's just, are you able to retain all of that? Because the curriculum is a 4-week program versus a call is just an hour or so. So yeah, I just wanted to yeah, that's pretty much it.
And what's the name of the academy?
Operation Starseed Protection.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll start in March though. So the academy won't start until I think the 3rd week in March, and then I'm doing like private uh ones where people just want to do it now. Yeah.
Salute. I
Yeah.
love the systematic breakdown of everything. I was listening to it. I could tell that you got, even for your workouts and for your healing, you probably got like a whole systematic breakdown of the body and stuff like that. That's probably amazing too.
Yep, appreciate it. Yep. And
That's
because I
dope.
have my
That's dope.
daughter, because of my injury and I dealt with babies, because I have my daughter, I'm able to utilize her developmental phases to help continue to rehab myself. So it's really dope. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I know we only got about a minute left.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got
Appreciate
like
our
1 minute
time.
left. So
We
I'm gonna
definitely
definitely have to tap in with that for sure to work
definitely,
out.
yeah,
So
for
yeah.
real, because this is very helpful to our generation, our youth. So definitely, we would love to tap in again. Shout out to all of our sponsors. Shout out to
Mhm.
iselflawandmaster.com
yep.
and
Right,
check
right.
out Chief Jungle. And this is Creative Collection NYC.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Peace,
Signing out.
peace,
All
peace.
Peace,
right,
peace.
another classic.
Yep.
Shalom, brother.
Love.